Hello and welcome back. My name is Jack B. and as always, thank you for viewing my video. This is part 2 of Toxic Plastic Everywhere. In part 1, we left off with speaking about how micro and nanoplastics travel in the air. I was thinking that a better analogy for particles traveling in the air might be the way smoke from wildfires, such as the ones in California, can be smelled 1,000 miles away in Colorado. And just because we can't smell the smoke doesn't mean there aren't any nanoplastics further away. Micro and nanoplastics are not only introduced to the atmosphere at the end of the product's life cycle, when they are being cut up and ground down for the processing plants, but also at the beginning of that product's life cycle when they're manufactured. Again, there are many more toxins used in the beginning of the life cycle, but I won't comment upon them now. Ultimately, as the micro and nanoplastics travel on the wind, they fall to the earth. They fall in the soil, the water, and on top of all vegetation. Nanoplastics can pass through the walls of the intestines and lungs and be absorbed into the body and have negative effects on the body's systems. The inhalation of micro and nanoplastics by humans and all animals affect the cardiovascular system. The nanoplastics pass through the lungs into the bloodstream. A small amount of nanoplastics leave the body by perspiration, urination, and or lactation. The nanoplastics are passed on to infants when their mothers nurse them. Some nanoplastics are absorbed into their body's fatty tissue, and more nanoplastics become attached to existing fatty deposits in the bloodstream, making those deposits larger. In short, nanoplastics cause cell death, organ damage, metabolism disruption, cardiovascular problems, neurologic symptoms, respiratory issues, and placental transmission, possibly causing DNA damage. By the way, the organ with the highest percentage of fat is the brain. Nanoplastics enter the brain and become deposited in the fatty tissue of the brain. Nanoplastics cause neuroinflammation. They disrupt neurotransmitter balance. They affect the brain function, possibly leading to issues such as altered learning, memory problems, anxiety, and changes in motor function. Nanoplastics are introduced to our bodies via a never-ending cycle of eating, drinking, and breathing. Nanoplastics are absorbed into the vegetation. Animals eat the vegetation, and some of us eat the animals and vegetation. They are even in the tea leaves we use to make tea. The water we drink contains nanoplastics. Again, the meat we eat contains nanoplastics, which were absorbed by the animals via drinking the water, eating the vegetation, and breathing the air. The introduction of nanoplastics into our lives and ecosystem is not only through recycling, which creates a plume that is dispersed throughout the area, but also through discarded plastic in the environment, which is decaying and also adding micro and nanoplastics to the ecosystem. We have floating islands of plastic waste in our oceans, mountains of plastic in our landfills, and piles of plastic discarded along the roadways, all decaying and introducing nanoplastics into our environment. Everyone has jumped on the bandwagon of drinking bottled water because they think it's cleaner and healthier. But the data shows bottled water has significantly higher amounts of nanoplastics than tap water. That's not to say tap water doesn't contain other toxins that bottled water doesn't. I am not sure how water treatment plants remove nanoplastics or how much they remove, but by just using settlement ponds doesn't seem to me to be enough to remove them. Nanoplastics are also introduced into our drinking water through the natural aging and chemical decay of plastic pipes. Plastic pipes bring drinking water into a large number of homes in the U.S., not unlike the way lead pipes used to. I suspect it is the #1 pipe material used to provide drinking water to homes. I would imagine copper pipes are still available at special request. They're probably very expensive and thus available to the rich in the U.S. Aging causes microcracks and pittings to occur in the plastic pipes, releasing nanoplastics into the water. Chlorine and other materials in the water break down the plastic over time, adding to the release of nanoplastics. In an effort to get clean water, some people buy pitchers with filters. These devices do not necessarily remove nanoplastics, and they're made of plastic. So, other people buy whole house filters, but again, they don't remove all the nanoplastics and their components are plastic. The only way that I have found to remove nanoplastics from water is using reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis pushes water through a semi-permeable membrane that removes both the good minerals and the bad material and toxins from the water. One can always add the good minerals back to the clean water as a final step to preparing great drinking water. There are 2 issues with reverse osmosis. The first is that it takes time to filter the water, but one can deal with that. The second issue is that, on an average, to get 1 gallon of good drinking water, there's approximately 10 gallons of water wasted. Depending on what side of conservation fence you're on, this could be a problem. Also, don't use plastic, use glass. The purpose of this episode is to have everyone think about how one product is ingrained throughout our entire ecosystem and life and its potential health problems. There are many more toxins in our ecosystem that are worse for our health. In my opinion, the federal government should be the focal point for all pollution issues. I'm not sure the EPA is structured to effectively handle all the issues. They should pay special attention to and address the pollution already in our ecosystem and the continual addition of that same pollution and toxins into our ecosystem by corporations. The federal government should know all the chemicals and products being used and their level of toxicity. The federal government should have ongoing studies to measure pollution toxicity being absorbed into humans and develop the means and methods to mitigate the absorption and the health effects on human health by the existing pollution, as well as enforce reduction and ultimate removal of additional pollution. There are some groups in the government performing some of these tests, but I suspect they are fragmented and not providing any cohesive or meaningful results. Unfortunately, I do not hear very much on this topic from our leaders in the federal government. Leaders who leave dead black bears in Central Park and focus on removing all the fluoride from the drinking water does not instill confidence in me that our government is serious or even cares about our health. Well, these are my thoughts for today. And again, please verify the information presented. Thank you, and until next time, take care and be safe. Bye.